Let's talk Miami Dolphins here for a little bit. Got some interesting news to talk about involving the Dolphins. Heading into the offseason, there's a lot of concern that the Miami, due to their salary cap situation, would have to make a lot of cuts, a lot of releases to just lower that cap number, losing a lot of their top flight talent. That has not happened. Miami has done an incredible job helping keeping the core of the team together. Let's get right into this report detailing exactly how they've done it, and then we'll talk about what it means for Miami on the other side. This is from NBC Sports. A week after retouching the contracts of cornerback Jalen Ramsey, defensive tackle Zach Sealer, tight end Durham Smythe, and fullback Alec Ingold, the Dolphins reduced the salaries of offensive tackle Terran Armstead and tailback Jeff Wilson, and ESPN is reporting that Miami restructured pass rusher Bradley Chubb's deal. Miami reportedly converted $13.75 million of Chubb's base salary into a signing bonus in a move that creates an extra $11 million in cap space for 2024. As first reported by the Miami Herald, the Dolphins restructured Wilson's deal to lower his cap number from $3.67 million to $2.35 million. Armstead signed a 3-year, $38.63 million restructured deal, which lowered his cap 2024 hit by $10.3 million. The Dolphins also added 2 voidable years to Armstead's deal to create cap space. All right, so the long and short of it there with all those numbers is the Dolphins did a phenomenal job at retaining a lot of key talent when a lot of people thought they wouldn't be able to do that. I think this is a great job by Miami. Mize, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but first, Dolphins fans in the comment section below, Miami bringing back a lot of key players. Which guy do you think was the most important to bring back for Miami for 2024? Me, I'm a big fan of Alec Ingold. I'm glad he was able to return, but look, left tackle Armstead, that's an important position as well. Whoever you think was the biggest returning player that Miami was able to secure the return of, give us that guy in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on what Miami has done here and what it means for the Dolphins going forward.
Yeah, Nick. So when you have all of this talent on a team and all of these contracts, and admittedly a contract that you're going to, I think Chris Greer spoke on, do later this offseason with Tua Tagovailoa, there's a lot of things that come up in your mind. Like you said, everyone's thinking this is going to be a fire sale. Everyone's going to have to leave the team. There's a couple of different routes you can go down to make the cap space available to keep your talent together. The first one is you can cut people, like we said, and admittedly, they did cut Xavier Howard. So that was a move that frees up a couple of dollars post June 1st. So that is something they did do. You can ask people to be restructured, but when you ask people to take less money, it doesn't always go over so well. We look to see what happens with Keenan Allen, with the Chargers. They asked him to take less money. He goes on. Josh Jacobs with the Raiders. He wanted to, get a huge deal. Running backs, they didn't want to pay him that much. He moves on to another team. You even look at T. Higgins with the Bengals as well. He wants all the money in the world. Well, they're like, well, I don't think you're worth quite that much. There's some reasons why we think that as well. We'll franchise tag you for now and see what can happen later on this season. So that can cause some problems. But the Dolphins, when you have a team that's this tight, they all think that this is a very win-now team. This is a team that can go the distance. You start asking these guys, hey, Terran Armstead, can you take a pay cut? Hey, Jeff Wilson, can you take a pay cut? Bradley Chubb, can you restructure your contract? Jalen Ramsey, we need you to restructure your contract. Help the team out. This seems like a true team. Everyone is playing together. They're playing ball. They're moving numbers around. They get it done. And I'm really surprised they got it done, losing as little people as possible. And the only guy they did lose in Howard, I think they upgraded with the addition of Fuller anyways. So it's not like they really lost too much in that move as well. I'm really surprised the Dolphins were able to get all of this done and have cap space to sign all of their new draft picks potentially, as well as keep these guys together. I think this was an incredible job by Chris Greer. Some people have, kind of chastised him in the past for things he's done. But I think this just shows they have a good understanding of dollars and cents, and they've built a team and culture in Miami where everybody is working together for a common goal, and that is to win a Super Bowl. And I think all these guys are staying together because they think they truly have one of the best shots to do it next season.
Well, I don't think they're wrong, right? Everyone looks at a team like the Buffalo Bills, and they've been on the opposite of Miami. They've had a fire sale, right? So the Buffalo Bills have gotten a lot worse this offseason. The Jets with Aaron Rodgers We're still not exactly sure what that looks like. The Patriots are in total rebuild. I think on paper, Miami is clearly the best team in that division. And then you look at the entire AFC. Look, the AFC North is brutally tough, but they're going to beat each other up a little bit. Those are matchups I think Miami, when healthy, can be competitive against. Kansas City's great, but look, the reality is they're getting older. Eventually, guys like Kelsey won't be able to play anymore. I think there is an opportunity for Miami this coming season and maybe in 2025 to really take hold of the AFC and make a deep playoff run or two. But one thing I want to think is really important, and I think it speaks to how the media reacts and how we view the offseason. Everyone just looks at additions, right? We look at grades and, what team did best in the offseason. Everyone just looks at how many players a team signed, right? Everyone says, they signed 5 players. They had a great time. They signed a wide receiver, a tight end, a left tackle, defensive tackle, a middle linebacker, A+ offseason, according to the media. But that only really works if you upgraded, right? If you got worse or stayed the same, or you got worse and you spent a lot of money, that didn't help you out. You're in a tougher situation. You're in a worse situation. That's what a lot of bad teams do. Washington Commanders have done that for a very long time. New York Giants have been very similar. Cleveland Browns are notorious for doing that, right? You don't want to do that. What the Dolphins have done is that not only have they retained the talent of a team that, when healthy, was one of the best in football, that's undeniable. Look, as much as the Dolphins struggled down the stretch, they were incredibly beat up, certainly on defense. When healthy, clearly one of the best teams in football. And when they made additions, they're upgrades. Kendall Fuller, upgrade over Howard. We talked about it a few days ago. How about Jordan Poyer, veteran safety, adding into the fold here? Nice little upgrade on that back end of the defense. How about Isaiah Wynn, right? He's another guy that can come in and help solidify that offensive line. I think an upgrade, especially where the Dolphins offensive line was a few years ago, right? A few years ago, this was a terrible group. They've gotten a lot better. How about Connor Williams? Guy struggles to snap the football. I think he's a little bit of an overrated player coming off an injury. They bring in Aaron Brewer from Tennessee Titans, a guy who I think is underrated. I think he's going to be a great fit for Miami. We did a film review a few days highlighting exactly what Brewer does skill set wise. That'll be great for this Dolphins offense. So again, you go down the list here. Lose Xavier Howard, upgrade. Connor Williams up in the air, upgrade at center, right? Defensive back, you want some more safety help, bring in a veteran, Jordan Poyer, upgrade, right? You just go down the list, and they got better at certain positions, and they retain key pieces around it, right? And I think that's the important thing going forward. Look, you're obviously going to lose players every offseason, and Christian Wilkins being the big one, that's a tough loss. But the reality is, if you're going to lose a player, you want it to be at a position that doesn't just destroy your entire team. And defensive tackle is one of those positions. Let's be totally honest. As great as Christian Wilkins was, he's not the guy that's saving your team. Having depth in the secondary can destroy your team. They address that. Having issues on the offensive line can destroy your team. They address that, right? So this is a Dolphins team that has had an incredible offseason. No one's giving them a lot of credit because it's been a lot of re-signing and restructures. A lot of their moves have been made under the radar. But I think, like you said, Miles, I think you hit on something really important. Chris Greer, as much hate as he gets, he's had an incredible run at it. And I think what they've accomplished here in Miami really needs to be focused on and applauded.